blackface images surfaced, the Prime Minister apologized, and we were asked to judge the Prime Minister by his actions. Well, this is a moment right now, this is a movement right now, where we've seen people killed and brutalized by the police. We've seen people crying out for mental health or in a health crisis or in wellness checks be killed by police. We've seen the RCMP brutalize and kill people, and specifically Indigenous people and racialized people. So in light of that, in light of the movement that says Black Lives Matter, and it does, then why is the Prime Minister simply giving symbolic gestures and saying words instead of doing something concrete? So I call on the Prime Minister. What have the Prime Minister's actions been? In fact, he has done less to address police brutality and violence than even Trump has done. And that is shameful. So I call on the Prime Minister. I demand the Prime Minister act on that motion that it seemed like his party was in support of. Let's have a review of the budget of the RCMP so that we can shift resources away from policing into community resources. Healthcare workers responding to a healthcare crisis. We need to see a review of the use of force. We need to make sure that we're emphasizing de-escalation over escalating conflicts. We need to see a better disclosure of the incidents of use of force and the associated costs of settlements. We need a review and an overhaul of the way policing is done, and we need the Prime Minister to commit to ending racial profiling at the federal level by the RCMP and other police services that are under the jurisdiction of the federal government. This is the action that we need. We don't need the Prime Minister to take a knee. We need the Prime Minister to take a stand. And if we're asked to judge him by his actions, well, his actions have not shown up, have been insufficient, have been not enough. Let's also be clear that what President Trump has done is still insufficient, but he at least put forward some rules, some changes around the use of chokeholds. He's put forward some policy changes. That is completely different from what the Prime Minister has done. Prime Minister has put forward no policy changes. The most that he's done is a vague reference to body cameras, not a concrete policy, nothing in legislation, no changes to policy at all. The fact that President Trump, who has been horrible on this issue, who has said hateful things, and I've called him out on that, has done more in terms of a concrete policy change and a proposal than the Prime Minister of Canada, who says that he's an ally. That to me is really troubling. He's literally done nothing. We put forward a motion saying, review the budget. Let's review the use of force. Talk about shifting resources from policing to healthcare. Let's do a focus on de-escalation and racial profiling. Not a single action by the Prime Minister. That to me is very bad, very troubling.